child. Okay, so I finished one of Katee Robert's books. I need a drink. Okay. The first book that I did was obviously the shortest one, the audiobook Your Dad Will Do, and the audiobook was like 4 hours, but I listened to it on 2x speed. It still felt like 4 hours. Like, my friend read it and they said that they finished it in 30 minutes. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, do I have the extended version? Why was I suffering for this long? All in all, I'm gonna go ahead and give it 2.5 stars. That's my rating. I'm going to stick to it and I'm going to explain. Okay, so this was my first little dabble into Katee Roberts, and your girl is not shy of erotica. I'm not shy of smut, like sex scenes. None of that bothers me. But like, as soon as the audiobook started, it just was like penis, 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 penis immediately. Like there was no hello, my name is so and so, nice to meet you, whatever. Like, and I get that, you know, a lot of people say like it's erotica. Obviously there's not much plot to it. It's supposed to be for like a good time, a fun time. I've noticed something about myself now, that if I read smut, I need to know the characters. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I just think just going straight into it, right into the book, is just like immediately penis. The series is supposed to be taboo. It's supposed to be something that's out of the norm. So her sleeping with her fiance's father-in-law after they broke up was the taboo part. But what I don't get is why the father disliked the son so much. Like, he actively was like, my son is an asshole, he's in, like, I can't stand him, like, he's a shitbag and all this stuff. And I'm like, honey, what is the tea? Like, what is the backstory? What is y'all's story? Like, what is the issue? Like, you genuinely hate him? And I thought like at one point we were gonna just like touch base on why he hated his son so much, but his son would just like talk to him or show up and he just would be like, you're a piece of shit. Like, basically he just would just like not interact with him, and just the only thing that was like touched on was the fact that he didn't like the way that he treated the main character child. I don't even remember her name. Lily? Lisa? Something. I think it's something with an L. It's all a blur. So basically that's the only thing that I could touch on where I was like, okay, this is why he strongly dislikes him. I need a backstory. Like, I need the drama. I need the build up. I just need to know. I don't need 100 pages of a plot, but I need some type of backstory on who the characters are. Like, everything was just like touch and go, like very surface level, and it just felt like I was listening to like 4 hours of porn. Like, there was like small things in between where they would have like conversations or whatever, and they were just like trying to build up to like this relationship, and I was like, love? Marriage? Like, I'm sorry, I do not want, once me and my ex break up, I do not want to see your ass, and I damn sure am not gonna marry your father, and then I'm gonna have to see your ass all the time. No thank you. Like, I don't want that. I know that's like the ultimate revenge, obviously, because he slept with his secretary or whatever when they broke up, when they were still engaged, but I don't want to see you. Like, once we break up, I do not want to see you. So I couldn't even imagine going through that. And on top of that, she's 26 and he's like 46, so they have like a 20-year age difference. And it's like, if they do decide to be in a relationship and get married and she decides to have kids, your ex-fiance will be siblings with your child? That's maybe I'm thinking too far into it. Maybe you're just supposed to be like a book you just read and you just have a good time and you just go. But like, the things that were brought up in this book, I was just like, are y'all thinking? Like, are y'all using your brain cells, or this is just like a lure of the moment? That's my opinion on that. And on top of that, another thing is, why is in every single book and every single sex scene, everyone's dick size is like this? Everyone's penis is 12 inches. Everyone's penis is 10 inches. Everyone's penis is 13 inches, 9 inches, 8 inches. Like, where are the normal average size penises? Like, I just, everyone having this huge slung in every single book that I read, whether it's fantasy, whether it's smut, whether it's contemporary, it doesn't matter what type of genre it is. Everyone's penis is always big. I'm just like, can we just get a 7-incher? Like, I'm sorry, I don't know who wants their cervix erupted or fractured or broken. It's not me. I don't understand. I don't understand that. Personally, I don't understand that. And I don't get why everyone has to have this huge penis in every single book that has a sex scene. I don't get that. It had this like ongoing daddy kink, and I'm not too shy of the daddy kink, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna shame that. That's all I'm gonna say on that. But it was just so long. Like, I felt like even though the audiobook was only 4 hours, I felt like I was listening to that book for like 8 hours. Like, it really felt that long. And it's just like, I just listening to that for that long was just like, oh my god, like, can y'all do something? Can y'all just go grocery shopping or something? Like, just please go touch some grass. Like, I know it was just over for a weekend, and then there was like a 6-month jump ahead later, but I was just like, damn, can we just get an in-between break? Out, child. I was ready for it to be over. I kind of assumed that this would be my least favorite. It just felt repetitive at some point, and I just was like, okay, we get it. Like, we get it. I just wish it was just like one day. Like, she went, got her revenge, and then went about her day. All this we want to be together shit and long drawn out weekends, and it's giving insanity. It wasn't a terrible book. I can't give it 3 stars because 3 stars I feel like would be a book that I at least like. I don't hate it. I don't dislike it, but I didn't like it or love it. So I'm just gonna stick with a 2.5 because at the end of the day, a 2.5 is half of a 5. So it is what it is. It's like, that's really all I have to say. It's and I'm giving you natural lighting because it's almost 7 and the light's still out. So it's also wash day, so I'm giving you wrap realness. I'll be getting my hair done tomorrow. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that book. The next book that I'm gonna start probably is Desperate Measures or The Neon Gods, because I just got that today. So I don't know, I really want to physically read. That is my update on Your Dad Will Do. We're gonna move on. Bye. Another book down. I am happy to report that I love this book more than the first Katee Roberts book I read, which was Your Dad Will Do. I listened to that on audiobook. This one I read physically, and I knew I was gonna like this, but I didn't know I was gonna like it so much. I ended up giving this book 5 stars. I tabbed, if you can see, I put note cards so I can read some of my favorite quotes to you guys, but like, if you can see how many like notes and annotations I left in this book. This that one. And I honestly think that I prefer dog earing my books. Anything that requires me to keep up with it, unless it's a book, I lose it. So annotation tabs don't work for me because I lose the tabs, and then by the time I find them again, I forget what my color coordination was. I just rather dog eat their damn book and write in my notes or write in whatever I feel at that moment. So I have so much to talk about for this book, so hopefully this part of the video isn't too long. But this book, I feel like this book was like the epitome of like the grumpy and sunshine character, but the sunshine character had a little bit of flair to her. Like, she wasn't taking nobody's shit. She was like a little kinky. She was just down for the get down. She'll beat somebody's ass, like whatever she has to do. She really was just trying to stay alive. Like, her sunshine persona was really just a mask, and she still was a really sweet person. Persephone is who I'm talking about right now. She was a brat. I love that. So let me just start from the beginning. I don't want to just start babbling about this book, but I love this so much. So I have all of my notes right here. So the first thing I want to say is that I love the world setting. I love the way that everything was. It's just so interesting for me to see like old tales and old myths or whatever being retold. So just seeing the way this was structured into like being a city life, and the 2 cities being separated by a bridge, and there being the upper city, which is just like fashion, fame, celebrities, and fake allyship or whatever. The lower city, which was where Hades was seen as this dark, twisted place, but it really felt like that city had more love and was more he was more respected in his city. People from the upper city would come over to the lower city all the time. There was a agreement between the gods from the past that they wouldn't cross over to each other's side, but the upper city folk kept coming to the lower city. It was really well told because you could really imagine it like in your head. Like it was just one of those books that really would be a great movie. It being kind of like royalty, like where there's the king and the princes, and then once the king dies, the prince goes ahead, but it's just like more modernized. So it would be like you have the family of Hades or whatever, or you have the family of Zeus or whatever, and then like once he dies, his son comes up, and then the next son comes. I loved the sister dynamic between Persephone and all of her sisters. They were very easy to tell apart. They all had their own personalities, and just like, I just love sisters in books. And I was so surprised by this book because I thought it was going to be like Smut, just like, okay, we getting down, we got Hades and Persephone, they're gonna be getting down with the get down. But it just was like so much that I loved about this book that had nothing to do with the sex scenes. Like, don't get me wrong, the sex scenes were popping, like I'm not gonna lie, the sex scenes were amazing. Like just the conversations they were having, I was like, yeah, this that one. I think this is my first time reading a Hades and Persephone retelling, but I'm trying to tap into the other Greek gods and daughters and all that stuff. Like I really want a Eurydice and Orpheus retelling. Like I want that retelling because I feel like their story is never really touched on. All the side characters were really cool. I really liked Hermes and Dionysus, and I think Dionysus is asexual. I'm really hoping this book turns into like a series because I really want to hear his story, because he's like the god of like partying and drugs and alcohol and whatever, and he just seems like a very chill person and not sexual at all. Like he just doesn't get into that, and I just would really like to see an asexual god. You know what I'm saying? Because they just are so corrupt. In every book they're always so corrupt, and they're just like heavy on getting what they want sexually or whatever. So to have an asexual guy, I think that would be really, really cool. So I'm hoping that she does a book for Dionysus. Let's talk about Hades. I loved Hades from the second that his ass stepped on the page. Like this dark and mysterious and quiet guy, but then like as soon as he was on page, just his personality was just like so funny to me, because he's just like one of my favorite types of male characters, where they're like super grumpy but like so soft and gentle with the people that they love. Like he was so soft and gentle with his quote-unquote friends that he didn't want, and he was so soft and gentle with Persephone, and he was so soft and gentle with like his city people, and they loved him back in like small ways, but it just wasn't like blatantly like I love you. So it just was like so cute to just see his little quirks. And he also was like a neat freak. Like he was not going for like no messy house, no messy floors, none of that. Like he was not playing no games, okay? And they just kept talking about his beard, and I'm just like, yes, come through beards, because I just feel like every romance book, they don't really talk too much about, they talk about looks or whatever, but I have yet to see like a beard be in any of the romance books that I've read so far. Like they just kept talking about like this beard, magnificent beard that he has, and I just was like, fictional crush? Yes, I think so. Once Persephone ran away from the upper city, and she went to Hades, even when she went there, she was still cautious, and she was still like kind of low-key like scared of him because of obviously all the rumors of what people tell her on the upper city. But like just the way that they communicate and the way that they talk to each other and respect each other and listen to each other was just, it just didn't get any better than this. Like it really just didn't get any better. Like they just communicated so well, and it wasn't like it took 4 fucking pages for them to communicate how they felt or what they wanted to get across. Like it would be like a paragraph. This is how I feel, this is how you feel, let's come to an understanding and move the hell on. It would be like a paragraph or 2 paragraphs tops. A lot of authors, when they're talking about something specific or communicating about something, they draw out the scene. The shit be like 10 pages. With Hades and Persephone, they get to it. We get bisexual rep in both of our MCs. It just was like touched on, like it was mentioned about both of them, but I just was like, interesting. We love a bisexual king and bisexual queen, you know what I'm saying? Give us that rep. I was very happy to see that. Thank you. I just love them together. I just love them. I just love them together so much. Like they're just my new OTP. I also was very happy to find that I have a new favorite trope, which obviously everyone loves the trope where it's like the character get injured and they heal them, they nurse them back to health. So Persephone ended up hurting her feet in the beginning of the book, and for a majority of the book he carried her around everywhere she needed to go, like, and she was so stubborn, like she was not willing to get carried even when she was in pain, but he just was like, I don't want to hear it, girl, you ain't messing up, first of all, you ain't messing up my damn floor, second of all, I don't want to see you in pain. Is carrying around an injured character my new favorite trope? Maybe. And then when she just started settling into the fact that he was going to carry her wherever she went regardless, like she just would lean back into his chest, and they're trying to get her back to the upper city. She don't want to come back. She having a time of her life with Hades and everything else he got going on, you know what I'm saying? So she not trying to go back. She ain't trying to go back at all. No fade to black up in here, baby. We going through the whole scene, start to finish, okay? Start to finish. A lot of people probably went into it thinking like it was going to be this crazy BDSM sex scenes or whatever, but it just was like he was so gentle with her. Like I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but like it was like a build up to being more comfortable with doing different things. It wasn't just like a bam, we going straight into it, this is what I'm into, like you gonna have to roll with it. It wasn't like that. It just was like he would slowly ease her into like, oh well, you interested in this, blah blah blah, whatever. Like it was like constant consent, constant communication, like constant respect. Like that just was my favorite part of everything. Please read this book, please. Okay, like I need somebody to talk to about this book. Like I really just want to talk about this book because it was phenomenal. I loved it. I loved both of the characters. I was scared Persephone was gonna get on my damn nerves because every time I've ever heard about Persephone, she's like this super sweet, really nice, bubbly character, and I was like, child, I hope she got a little more flavor on page, and she had all the flavor I needed. Okay, I guess I'll just read a couple of my favorite excerpts. Let's see. I don't believe in fate, but this moment feels like we've both spent years barreling down our respective paths to this point. I can't turn away now. I don't want to. That's the beginning. Like that, we just had started the book and she already like, hey, I'm not trying to go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is an example of him like being very gentle with her and being like, girl, I don't care what you got going on. I'm gonna take care of you regardless. He said, if you can't be trusted to take care of your body, then I'm going to do it for you. Period. Like, we love a nurse, we love a king that knows how to take care of his woman, like, period. Hades, please. And then he says, I like the way you say my name. Like, I just like how he just still drags out the banter even when they about to get down, you know what I'm saying? Like, he still be talking his shit, like. Okay, here goes another one. I need him. I need him more than food, more than water, more than air. I lightly drag my teeth over his bottom lip. Please, Hades, you're going to be the death of me, he murders. Girl, this book, I want to reread it so bad. I just was having the time of my life. And then this one says, I feel like I can breathe here. I don't have to pretend with Hades. I don't have to pretend to be bright all the time. I feel like I can finally start figuring out who I am behind the mask. And I don't want nothing to happen to them. Like, I will fight for Hades and Persephone. Like, just this one. This is my first Hades and Persephone retelling. And I don't care what other versions I read. This is the top. This is number one. I'm here to tell you this is the top one. I have to protect him. He's got no one else who loves him like I do. Like, just bury me. Like, bury me with the book. Like, when I die, just bury me with this book. Like this. Sprinkle little flowers on me, a little bit of dirt. Cool. Just like this. Like, I need to carry this book with me to the heavens, okay? Because then I can show all the angels, like, hey, get into it. You missing out. If anybody ever asked me that question when they be like, oh, what's one book you would read forever, over and over and over again? This one, until I get it memorized over and over and over again. I love it. I love every second of it. Beautiful, wonderful, yes. If you're stranded on the island, what book would you bring? This one. If you can only take one book on yourself, if a fire started, this one. Here we go. That's your answer right here. Bam. Bam. That's it. 20 minutes. been talking for 20 minutes. That's all I have to say about this book. I'm going to be reading the final book, which is Desperate Measures. I actually started it this morning, which is Katee Robert's retelling of like Disney characters, but they're adults and it's a sexy time, you know what I'm saying? So I'm reading Desperate Measures, which is Jasmine and Jafar's retelling, and honey, we getting straight into it like immediately. I wasn't even a couple pages in, they getting straight to it. They're not playing in this book. They getting straight to business, okay? So this is a little bit more intense than the sweet, magical, soft moments of Hades and Persephone. They not playing. Jafar and Jasmine is getting straight to it. So I will see you guys with that update. Okay, bye. I'm giving y'all Squidward tentacle realness with this hair. I don't know how I feel about this. I was trying to do bangs, but this is just so short. I can't do much with this. Anyway, we have come to the end of this video. Finally. Holy shit. God. This video was only supposed to be like a week, but it took me like a week and a half to finish all 3 books because in the middle of reading these books, I spiraled into a reading slump. She caught up. I did the final book. The final book that I read for this video was Katee Robert's Desperate Measures. So the name of the series is called Learn My Lesson, and basically it's like a series of like Disney retellings, but like smut, you know what I'm saying? It's like an adult version of like Disney retelling. So the first one was between Jasmine and Jafar, and yeah, so I read this one on my Kindle, which I actually really liked because it was easy for me to highlight things and easy for me to put notes, and then it also had like things underlined and it showed like, oh, like 50 other people highlighted this or whatever. So it was just kind of cool to see like what everyone else like enjoyed with the book. This was easy to track, it was easy to follow along, it was easy to just like lay in any position and read. So as far as like enjoyment between like audiobook, Kindle, or physical read, I still prefer physical books because it's like a breakaway from like screens. And then audiobooks is easy too because I can just like go around throughout the day and continue to do what I have to do without having to sit down and stop and read. Okay, so basically this book follows Jasmine and Jafar. Her kingdom ends up getting overthrown and Jafar ends up being in charge of the kingdom, and she is part of the prize. She's basically part of the coup. So basically he took over the kingdom, he is now his. They've always had like this ongoing banter because he's always been her father's right hand, so he's always been a part of her life, and she's always like kind of teased at him, or they had like this kind of back and forth like sexual tension in the room, you know what I'm saying? They never acted on it until Jasmine's father is now no longer a part of the picture, and now Jafar is the one in charge, and he's ideally the king of the estate. Out of all 3 of the books, I figured that Neon Gods, I thought Neon Gods was going to be like the kinkiest. Like I thought that was going to be the one high intensity level of smut. That's the one with Hades and Persephone's. I just assumed that one was just going to be like level 55 because we talking dungeon, we talking Hades, we talking the underworld, we talking like 50 Shades of Grey, but actually good material. So I just assumed that would be the best, but that one was more like, it was kinky, but it had like more of like a love story, you know what I'm saying? And it was more like swoon worthy. The first book for me was cringe. The first book for me was cringe. The second book for me was swoon, and I love that book so much. And this book was more like it was just like more intense. Like this is what I thought the Neon Gods book was gonna be up like. Like I did not expect it to be like this level of like this one. It was just like smut was just like level 10, like top notch, just top notch. Let's just start from the top. Also, I ended up giving this book 5 stars. So I gave this book 5 stars. I really like the character, I like the back and forth, I like the banter. It's kind of like consensual, non-consensual sex, so it kind of was like foreplay for sex, you know what I'm saying? It was chef kiss. I'm just gonna say it was chef kiss. Out of all 3 of them, their scenes were probably my favorite. I really enjoyed Hades and Persephone too, but I just like just them together. Like, just that whole book, I just love them together. But this one, the kink was the best, and out of all three, this one was the best one. Really hit the spot. Like, she really delivered with this one. My thing was, like, I obviously did this for a video, but I just don't understand. I mean, obviously everyone has their own favorite types of books or whatever, but I don't know how people read shit like this and go about their day. Like, obviously while I was reading this, I was quarantined, so I'm quarantined for 11 days because I had a cold, but with the protocol with my job, I can't go to work once I get sick. So the cold is over, but I was in my room when I read this, and I don't know how people go throughout their day, like, working or conversating with people while reading this. Like, I had to stop everything. Like, there was no way I could be able to function reading this. Like, Hades and Persephone, I could function. The first book, I guess I could function. Like, it's an audiobook, so it's just like whatever, I could just go throughout my day and just be fine. But this, I don't know how people function throughout their day reading. Like, how do you read this and just be like, la la la, going to the park, going to work, talking to my boss, talking to my pals on Twitter? Like, I just don't know how people are functioning reading this. Like, that was the biggest thing for me. Like, how the hell are y'all doing this? But I did like that Jasmine was very sheltered her entire life. Like, she never really had the opportunity to be out in the outside world. When she did go outside, she was with Jafar, and she was kind of getting used to her surroundings, but she still was like strong and powerful and really willing and wanting to be in control and willing and wanting to learn. And she just like, this is my shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, why do I have to follow around behind guys? Like, how come they are always with the power play with, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why do I have to fight to be heir? This is rightfully my shit. But at the same time, she just didn't feel powerful. She didn't feel confident in her knowledge as far as like the palace is concerned, and as far as like responsibilities, day-to-days, whatever. But she still felt like it was rightfully hers. So I really liked hearing like her inner thoughts, because it was understandable, but I was just like, I was rooting for her the whole time. The ending really delivered, as far as like, I was unexpected, because I really thought I knew where this was heading and how it was gonna go. I don't want to give away too much, because I want you guys to obviously read this. I do recommend this book. I again gave this 5 stars based off of the ending. It was a 4-star. The beginning was a little rough. Once I got through like the first few chapters, got to know the characters and got to know the like the storyline and whatever, blah blah blah, then I was like, okay, I'm enjoying this. It got up to like, when I got towards the end, I was like, okay, this is a 4-star read. I'll give it a 4-star. And then the ending came, I was like, okay, this is a 5-star read. I had to give it 5 stars. The only thing it's a few things I didn't like. Let's see. I felt like the villain was Ali, so he just felt really one-dimensional. Like, he didn't really have a lot of parts in this book. The parts that he did show up, it just was kind of like, he was like creepy, weird, and like hated basically, but he just felt very one-dimensional. Like, he was just like a bridge they were trying to get over. Like, hey, this dude, he gotta go. Like, why is he still around? But I would have liked to see him in the story a little bit more, or like be more fleshed out. He just felt like something that just kept showing up, and I just was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't feel like he was a very fleshed out character. There was like a lot of plot twists, and there was a lot of like people willing to be sneaky and snaky and stab each other in the back, but not elaborated on. Like, it was just like things would happen and people would just be like, okay, well, now we have to overcome this, or now we have to do this. Like, the issues or the backstabbing or the buildup or the reasoning behind the contracts made or the deals made or whatever, it was never elaborated on. And it's like, okay, I get it. This is just like a short little book. It's only like 200 or so pages, so it's like, I get that. I wish it was more explained or more developed, but I didn't care that much to knock it off a star. I'm just gonna say that it still was a 5-star read. In this book, I feel like the daddy kink worked better than the first one. Like, in the first book, it just felt so dragged out, and he was old as hell and she was young, and it just was like, okay, we get it. Anytime they had sex, it just was like reiterated that he's this older guy and he's this older powerful guy, and it's like, okay, we get it. But in this one, there also was like a daddy kink, but it was like a play on her being sheltered in a way, and now he's sheltering her in a way against her will. But it was better done. It was better done. It was more enjoyable, and I wasn't like rolling my eyes. Like, in the first book, it was like every time that the daddy kink came up, I was like, child, we get it. Like, And it wasn't even sexy. I was just like, okay, you old, like, all right, we get it. But this one was just like better because it was like, in a way, it was like forbidden, or it was like it was not supposed to be happening, and it was like a build up to this happening, like because they had knew each other in the past, and then they would bring up situations in the past that they didn't act on, and it just was like, okay, he killed your daddy, now you calling him daddy. We love that for you, sis. Like, good for you, good for you. I liked Jafar's character. I felt like he was very power hungry, and the things that he did made other people not trust him or low-key not like him, but he did not care. He was just like, hey, listen, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I came from nothing. I'm gonna get what I want, and either y'all gonna roll with it or y'all get overthrown too. Like, hey, it is what it is. I just liked his drive. I liked his cockiness in a way, but I like that he still respected Jasmine. I felt like it was like a level of respect and a good like level of consent and a level of conversation. Sometimes I feel like he would be thinking things and I would just be like, you need to say this out loud. Like, some of the things that he would be thinking, I felt like they should discuss, but he was in like a sticky situation, so it was hard to like give her what he wanted and also play this powerful new leadership role he was in and not backtrack. I highly recommend the Neon Gods book, and I recommend this book, Desperate Measures, but I don't really recommend the first book. It was like, if I won't even say if you just want to read something, because I really just was like, I read it and I was like, okay, like it really just was like, who cares? Like, it was just like a waste of my time that I genuinely want back, but I can't get it back, so hey, it is what it is. All in all, this is the end of this video series. I read Smut for like a week and a half and I was struggling away. Love reading about everybody getting hot and heavy, and you are not a part of any of those scenes. You just sitting there struggling and reading, just struggling and reading. It was intense. I read 3 books on 3 different formats. Out of all 3 formats, I would say I think Kindle was my favorite format for this series, because I got to like cuddle up in my blanket and like read in any position anywhere I wanted to. Like, it was just great. I got to highlight easily. I could type in easily. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, leave a snake and a flower, the little pink flower. I am sorry this video is late. I had to finish the book. I just finished the book this morning, so hey, it is what it is. I will see you guys next week. C'est la vie. C'est la vie.